is the news on Honor 103.5 FM. Honor FM News, accurate, transparent, undiluted. We go there. We bring you the news behind the news. Honor FM News. If it's new, then it's news.
Welcome to the World News at Noon on Honor 103.5 FM. On the national news this afternoon, President Tinubu counsels Nigeria in St. Lucia. And on the Oyo State News, Oyo Assembly Speaker Ogundoyin seeks synergy for legislative reforms. On the African news, African Union military helicopter crashes in Somalia. On the business news, Manufacturers Association clamor refineries privatization. And on the foreign scene, South Korea revises martial law rules after political crisis. On the sport news, Liverpool star Diogo Jota dies in car crash. Welcome once again to the news. I am Temitope Dada. Now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu, while interacting with Nigerians living in St. Lucia, has promised to resolve some of the key issues raised by the Nigerians diplomatically. The president met with Nigerians at the official residence of St. Lucia's Prime Minister, Philip Perry, on Tuesday night, where he urged them to be good ambassadors. The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission Chairman Abike Dabiri Erewa organized the meeting and invited various Nigerian professionals and students living in St. Lucia. He also urged the president to establish a diplomatic presence in St. Lucia as urgently as possible. The Nigerian Medical Association has issued a 21-day ultimatum to the federal government to meet its demands to avert industrial action in the health sector. The association in a press conference expressed disappointment and condemned the adjustment of allowances under the consolidated medical salary structure for medical and dental practitioners. The NMA president, Professor Bala Audu, decried the situation, adding that the recent development had worsened already existing tension among doctors who had remained committed to serving Nigeria. The doctors also demanded the immediate reversal of appointment of other healthcare professionals as consultants, citing patient safety and the need to maintain medical care standards. Still on the national news, Oyo State Speaker, Chairman of the Conference of Speakers of State Legislatures in Nigeria, Right Honorable Ogundoyin, has taken steps towards a continued push to strengthen legislative governance and accelerate constitutional reforms across the country. The Speaker did this yesterday while on a courtesy visit to the Governor of Kwara State and Chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, in Ilorin. The conference chairman presented key reform initiatives designed to promote legislative autonomy, capacity building, public accountability, and intergovernmental cooperation. Right Honorable Ogundoyin also solicited the support and partnership of the NGF in ensuring the successful actualization of these reforms. In his response, the chairman Nigerian Governors Forum, Abdurrahman, reaffirmed the NGF's commitment to strengthening democratic institutions across the country. And moving on to the African news, a military helicopter operated by the African Union crashed and caught fire in an airport in Somalia's capital. This has led to the death of at least 3 people, according to the Somali authorities. The helicopter originally belonged to the Ugandan Air Force but was operated by the African Union mission. According to reports, the crash occurred in the morning. However, the exact number of casualties remains unclear. A Ugandan army spokesperson, Felix, said 3 people had escaped the helicopter with burns and that the remaining 5 passengers were yet to be accounted for. And on the business report this afternoon, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria has said the Port Harcourt, Warri and Kaduna refineries are a drain on the country's economy. Therefore, it is calling on the federal government to sell the facilities. This comes as crude refiners and marketers advise the government to use the proceeds to fund modular refineries. According to the Director General of MAN, Segun Ajayi Kadiri, the refineries were gulping government resources with no result to show. He says about $3 billion has been spent to revive the refineries, but all to no avail. And on the foreign scene this afternoon, South Korea lawmakers have voted to revise the martial law. Therefore, this now bars any attempt to obstruct lawmakers from entering the National Assembly in South Korea. The martial law is a temporary suspension of normal civilian governments during times of war, armed conflict, or other national emergencies where public safety and order are severely threatened. This amendment also bans the military and police from entering the National Assembly without the approval of the Speaker. Recall that South Korea's former president, Yoon Suk-yeol, declared martial law on the 3rd of December 2024. Still on the foreign scene, coming from the U.S., U.S. President Donald Trump is set to meet with African leaders from Gabon, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Mauritania, and Senegal from the 9th of July to the 11th of July 2025. The meeting comes as a surprise because last month, the White House notably brokered a peace deal between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Meanwhile, a bilateral meeting with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa in May went down also with tensions. However, Trump has made increasing business ties a key objective of relations with the African continent, which he wants to substitute for humanitarian programs and development aid. And finally, on the sport news this afternoon, Liverpool and Portugal forward Diogo Jota has died at the age of 28 following a tragic road accident in Spain. The fatal crash occurred at the province of Zamora. Jota was a key figure for both Liverpool FC and the Portuguese national team. He was widely regarded for his tenacity, goal-scoring instinct, and versatility. According to newsmen, Jota died at the scene of the accident. The news of his sudden passing has sent shockwaves through the footballing world and the entire world. And that'll be all for now on the World News at noon on Honor 103.5 FM. Before we go, here is a recap of the main story. On the national news this afternoon, we informed you that President Tinubu has counseled Nigerians in St. Lucia to be good ambassadors. And on the Oyo State news, Oyo State Assembly Speaker Ogundoyi has sought synergy for legislative reforms. On the African news, African Union military helicopter has crashed in Somalia's capital. And on the business news, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria is clamoring for refineries privatization. On the foreign scene, South Korea has revised its martial law rule after political crisis. And finally, on the sport news, Liverpool star Diogo Jota has died in a car crash. For Eyewitness Report, news mentions and news commercials, contact the Honor FM newsroom at 0915-103-5555. You can also check out our website at www.onofm1035.net for more information. I am Temitope Dada. Thanks for listening.
And that was the news on Honor 103.5 FM.